guys! Today we're going to be revising for the B1 exam. Not the most interesting topic I know, but we all have to do it, so let's get on with it. The first topic that you need to know about is the nervous system. Receptors in our sense organs, such as the eyes, skin or nose, pick up signals from around us, such as a change in temperature or sound. This is called a stimulus. Neurons are nerve cells that carry electrical signals from the receptors to the central nervous system, which consists of the brain and the spinal cord, and from the central nervous system to an effector, which is the muscle or gland that responds to the stimulus. Think about touching a hot flame with your hand. The receptors in your hand will detect the change in heat and will send a signal through the sensory neurons to the central nervous system, or the CNS as it's often referred to. Between each neuron is a small gap called a synapse. To travel across these, the electrical signals must be converted into a chemical signal. The relay neurons then carry the signal around the CNS. Finally, the CNS sends a message to the effector, in this case the muscles in your arm, through the motor neurons. The muscles then pull your arm away from the flame. Responses like this, where the response is not voluntary, you don't think about moving your hand away, are called reflex actions. In this case, the signal bypasses your brain altogether, travelling only through the spinal cord. This is why you automatically move your hand away. The process of maintaining a constant internal environment, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it? Which means keeping all of the conditions in your body, such as temperature, the same, is called homeostasis. The four main things that we must control are temperature, blood sugar levels, water levels and ion levels in order to survive. The amount of water in the body is important to control so that the cells can remain healthy. The ways that water levels are controlled are: water is lost through the skin when we sweat, it is lost from the lungs when we breathe out, and it is lost through urine. The ion levels are also controlled by producing sweat and urine. The temperature must be controlled to allow enzymes to work. We control the temperature by sweating, shivering, and by controlling the blood flow to the skin so that more or less heat is lost. Blood sugar levels are controlled using insulin to prompt the release and storage of glucose in cells. Hormones are created by many different glands inside the body and are transported through the bloodstream to different organs in the body. 4 different hormones are involved in the female menstrual cycle: estrogen, FSH, LH and progesterone. FSH is produced in the pituitary gland in the brain, and it makes an egg mature in the ovaries and also tells the ovaries to produce estrogen. This stops the FSH being produced and tells the pituitary gland to produce LH. This LH then releases the egg from the ovaries into the womb. Contraceptive pills prevent pregnancy because they contain estrogen, which stops the production of FSH, meaning that no new eggs are matured. They also contain progesterone, which means that the lining of a womb stays thick. These are great for allowing people to choose when or if they want to have children, but it's not all positive, as the estrogen can cause side effects. Therefore, some pills these days only contain progesterone, as these have fewer side effects. There are also ways that people can become pregnant if they struggle to. If they do not produce enough FSH, they can be given fertility drugs, which replace the FSH they do not have. These increase the woman's chance of becoming pregnant, but they can cause multiple pregnancies, having twins or triplets even, and premature births. They can also have IVF, where an egg is fertilised outside the body and then implanted back into the womb. Right, I think you need a break from revision for a minute. Here's some funny and also some really cute confessions I found on the Whisper app. Right, back to revision now. We can't be lazy. In the same way that our nervous system responds to external stimuli, plants can also respond to things around them. This is called a tropism and can happen in the stem or the roots of the plant. A positive tropism is where the plant grows towards the stimulus, and a negative tropism is the opposite, it grows away from the stimulus. A phototropism is where light is the stimulus. This obviously only happens in the stem, as the roots are underground where there is no light. When light shines on a certain side of the stem, for instance because of the sun, the auxins in the tip of the stem, which are a type of hormone found in plants, move to the shaded side of the stem. They then make that side grow more, meaning that the stem becomes longer on the shaded side, so bends towards the light. A geotropism is where gravity is the stimulus. In the roots, this makes them grow towards the stimulus or down, and in the stem, it grows away from the stimulus or up. This is because the auxins move to the lower side of the stem or root. In the stem, this makes the bottom side grow faster, bending it upwards. However, auxins in the roots stop them from growing. Therefore, when the auxins move to the lower side, this grows less, bending the root downwards. We can use plant hormones in weed killers and also in rooting powders, to make the cuttings develop roots. In weed killers, they cause weeds to grow too quickly so that they die. Pathogens are bacteria or viruses that can cause diseases. Bacteria get into the body and then reproduce really quickly. They then produce toxins which can damage our cells. Viruses reproduce inside our cells until the cell can no longer hold any more of them and bursts apart, destroying the cell. They then go into other cells and the process starts again. The white blood cells in our blood fight against pathogens to stop us from getting ill. They can ingest pathogens and destroy them, produce antitoxins that counteract the toxins released by bacteria, or produce antibodies to destroy pathogens. Pathogens contain antigens, which the body recognises as foreign, i.e. not meant to be there, which triggers the white blood cells to produce these antibodies. Vaccinations contain dead or inactive versions of the dangerous pathogen that they are trying to protect you against. They stimulate the white blood cells to produce antibodies for this particular pathogen, as they think that you are ill. Some of these antibodies are stored in the body, meaning that the white blood cells can quickly make more if you actually get the disease. One way to stop pathogens from spreading is using simple hygiene, like washing your hands. This seems obvious to us as it's something that we have all already done, but this wasn't always the case. In the 19th century, Ignaz Semmelweis, I think that's how you pronounce it, realised that cleanliness was important in hospitals. He told doctors to wash their hands before examining patients, something that was not common at this time. This greatly reduced the number of deaths from infectious diseases in his hospital. Painkillers block nerve impulses from the part of the body that is hurting, so you cannot feel the pain, but antibiotics actually kill the harmful bacteria. The first antibiotic that was discovered was penicillin, which was discovered by Alexander Fleming, who noticed that some of the bacteria that he was growing were being killed off by it. There are also loads of others that have been discovered since. In the same way that we can adapt through natural selection, so can bacteria. Therefore, when we take antibiotics, if a bacteria is resistant to them, it will survive and reproduce, making more bacteria that are resistant. This has become an issue in hospitals, where MRSA, which is bacteria that are resistant to most antibiotics, have developed, meaning that the antibiotic will no longer work. To prevent this from happening, we should only take antibiotics when we really need to, and should always take the full course of them. I think that's enough for today. My next video is just going to be a normal one, maybe a cover or something. But I will be carrying on making these, including one covering the second half of B1, so watch out for that. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.